Welcome back to Howling Around, the dating podcast. Today I'm talking to the ladies, and I'm gonna be really honest, but in a helpful way, because a lot of women sit there confused after a date, thinking, I don't get it. He seemed interested in me. Why didn't he ask me out again? Or, you're on a dating app, you matched, you've been chatting with a guy, you had a good conversation, at least you thought, and he doesn't ask you out. There are definitely many reasons as to why he didn't ask you out again or why he didn't ask you out in the first place. But I think, at least my experience leads me to believe that the main reason is very simple, and the answer would be there was absolutely no flirtiness, there was absolutely no fun, no banter, no lightness in the conversation. I mean, that's for me. I mean, there are definitely more reasons, but for me, this is the number one reason as to why I don't ask a woman out on a second date, or, why after chatting a little bit, I don't ask her out at all. And, I think there's definitely a lot of truth to it. And I think it's something that, you ladies need to take into consideration as to why you don't get asked out. It's not necessarily your looks, I can tell you that much. I mean, men aren't looking for a stand up comedian. I mean, we're not looking for a woman to be wild and bubbly. But what we do want, especially on a first date, especially on a dating app when we are chatting with you, we're looking for a little spark, a little playfulness, something that makes the moment feel more alive. We don't want it to feel like a job interview. Here's something most women don't even realize. Men pick up instantly on the vibe you bring. You know, if the conversation is dry and formal or overly serious the whole time, he's not thinking, oh wow, what a calm, elegant, reserved woman. No, 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 not at all. He's thinking, okay, she's not into me. Bye. That's how we think. Because for guys, banter means interest, playfulness means attraction, and a little teasing, a little laughter, and a little sass, that's how we guys read chemistry. So, when a woman doesn't flirt at all with us, if she doesn't laugh, if she doesn't tease back, if she doesn't show any warm energy, a man will walk away assuming that she's not attracted to him. And men will not ask out women who seem uninterested. You know, they're not going to chase someone who gave absolutely nothing back. A lot of women make this mistake without realizing it. They think that they're being polite or classy or not easy, or they're just nervous and don't know how to loosen up. Meanwhile, the guy is sitting there trying to create a spark with someone who gives him the emotional equivalent of a brick wall. Not because she's cold or not because you're cold as a woman, but just because, you're not showing anything. And look, men don't need a woman to be flirty every second, just a little bit, just a smudge, you know, a smile that lingers a little bit, a playful comment, a tease here and there, something that says, hey, I'm enjoying this conversation too. I'm enjoying this date too. That's enough. We just need that green light to make us think she likes me. That tiny bit of energy makes a guy think, I can relax, I can be myself because she likes me. And then the date will be much better for both of you. So when a woman is too neutral the entire time, as a guy, we don't know what's happening. We can't read you. And when a man can't read a woman's interest, he defaults to assuming she has none. She has no interest in me. That's not insecurity, that's survival. That's what we do. Men have learned the hard way not to push when they're unsure. So, as a guy, we simply stop trying. We don't ask for the second date, we don't even ask for the first one. And that's not because, we don't like you. but because you never showed that you like me. So here's another piece women never hear. Men actually need banter. I think women need it too, but we guys we need it. It's what makes us feel alive with someone. It makes us want to invest. It's what turns a date from two humans drinking coffee into two people who could maybe become something. Fun and flirty energy is the fuel of early attraction. And, I've been on many dates, many first dates, and I've had a lot of matches and a lot of chats and conversations where the energy was just really dry for whatever the reason was. But then I don't push for a second date and I don't even ask you out for a first date because you don't show any playfulness, you don't show any banter. It's not what we're looking for. You have to be fun. You have to be. You don't need to be a stand-up comedian, but you gotta be funny. You gotta be fluffy. You know, we need that. So if the whole date feels serious and logical and formal or stiff, he can still respect you, but he won't feel the chemistry. He doesn't want to create the chemistry because, he doesn't know if you like him or not. And I always say to men and women, if you like the other person, let them know. You can even just say it outright, like, "Hey, I like you. I like this date. I like you." You can even say it out loud, so there's no confusion. So there needs to be warmth. There needs to be some spark. There needs to be some kind of emotional movement. So, ladies, here's the truth: men don't need the date to be perfect. I mean, we're nervous enough already. It doesn't need to be that deep. We don't need it to be that romantic, but what we do need is to feel something, like a connection, a moment, a shared laugh. If you give him nothing, you'll get nothing. You know, a lot of women also hold back because they're afraid of appearing too eager. They think flirting means they're giving away too much too soon. But here's the funny thing. To a man, flirting doesn't make you look desperate. It doesn't make you look easy. It makes you look confident, it makes you look present, and it makes you look emotionally available. It makes us guys feel chosen. And when a man feels chosen, well, he leans into that. He doesn't walk away from it. So if you want him to ask you out again, here's the formula. And it's so simple. I still don't understand why women don't get it. Show a little spark. You know, be fluffy, be fun, be open, smile, laugh, you know, tease him a little bit, once or twice, match his energy. Unless he's a nervous wreck, then please don't match that. But you understand what I'm saying, right? You have to be fun, you know, do that. And, you give him something to work with. Men are not complicated. If you show interest, he'll show effort, I guarantee it. If you show none, he'll assume that the door is closed. And let me say this clearly. If he walked away confused, unsure, and feeling like he was pulling the entire conversation along, he's not going to continue. And that's not because he's weak, or, because he's scared. It's because men want to chase warmth. We don't want to chase walls. So, ladies, if you want to get that first date, if you want to get that second date, you know, don't just show up, show interest, show some personality. Be fun. Absolutely be fun and give some banter, you know, be flirty, tease, make some jokes, and, let him see the version of you that your friends get to see. That's the version we like. That's the version that we fall for. So, ladies, do that. Be fun, be playful. I hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.